Imayao, the death of the father of the family in a coastal village has put the pressure on the son to organize the most grand farewell one can think of. The death that is muddled with controversy, leading to several factions giving their 2 cents on the matter, leads to utter chaos in the torrential rain as Ishii completely loses his senses of what is considered to be morally right. A commentary on death and the behavioral tendencies of humans around it, caught with beautiful organized chaos that Lijo has become popular for. Jallikattu, an exhilarating take on catching a buffalo on the surface, but only representative of the savage nature of humans that hide under the garb of civil society. Inherently, these beings are savages, representative of their ancestors. A film that accounted for probably the most visually impressive spectacle, and a conclusion that still boggles my mind as I reminisce the gasps of air and everyone's jaw dropping of the effective commentary that Lijo Pilisari communicates through his characters and with little dialogues and sheer carnage. Churuli comes as Lijo's most eccentric project that will lead to the most polarizing reactions you can think of. Bear with me, as through most of this video I'm going to sound vague in order to protect the complex storyline of this film. I am already gearing you up for what you can anticipate when you decide to watch this film on SonyLIV, as its byproduct can only be two things. Either this storytelling will give you a nauseating experience, almost making you lose your bearings and leave you confused at what exactly is the point. If you are in this category, you will constantly be wishing for a resolution or a culmination of things, but little did you know it was happening all along. The excessive swearing in this film has already been provided with a trigger warning, as it is reflective of the world that Lijo wants to transport you to. The language utilized in the film has already stirred quite the controversy, especially in Kerala, but the spoiler part of this video will definitely unearth why the creative decision was taken. The other category of viewers are those that will absolutely be invested in Lijo's unique vision. The film is definitely the most surreal and bizarre Lijo film that you will see, the polarizing reactions being inevitable. The film does not only require your full attention of the dialogues that are passed off as inane conversations, but expects you to experience the world of Churuli just like the two primary characters. Let me know which category you fall into in the comments below, and if you do fall in the latter, what really invested you into the storyline. The movie is Lijo's adaptation of a short story written by Vinoy Thomas, focusing on two police officers who go undercover to catch a fugitive, who is presumably in the dense forest of Churuli. This is a place that is odd in every shape and form. The duo expect to crack the case by befriending the locals over a period of time, only to understand later that they have signed up for something in life that they never envisioned. That is literally all I can give you about this film, and trust me, it should be enough, because there are very few directors who have the courage to let their creative mind go wild. Lijo is a creator with immense passion for the craft, so much so that the storyline of this film and its complex structure is praiseworthy, but its technical qualities is something that will always stand out. The film's sound design captures the movement and daily rituals of the people of Churuli with utmost precision. The brisk walks, the sudden bursts of pace, the glass clinking on the table and the gulp in the throat of the alcohol being consumed in the arak shop that the locals frequent. Every little movement is enhanced through the detailed sound design by Ranganath Ravi. Just like the visual trip that most Lijo films offer, watching Churuli just made me think of what a feast it would have been if I witnessed this in an IMAX theatre, especially with reference to the eerie background score composed by Srinath Sajay. The visual grammar of this film is definitely spaced out for two halves, much like the journey of the characters psychologically. One that is more rustic and real, as it mostly showcases the people and the abundant nature around them, only to transition in the second half to focus more on surrealism, imagery and analogies that represent what Churuli really means, and credit has to be given to cinematographer Madhu Neelakandan, who has brought life to the unique vision of the creator. The performances of this film range from absolutely being intimidating and horrifying to playing mere spectators just like the viewers. It still blows my mind on how many talented actors become part of ensemble casts in Malayalam cinema. It is probably reflective of the culture of working for the same cause, and that is cinema. Both Vinay Ford and Chamber Vinod Jose act as a great vessel to the journey that oscillates from being explorative to daunting, as if there is no path to escape. Jafar Iduki as the Arak shop owner brings the much needed claustrophobia in their journey. His unpredictable attitude is something that always makes you wonder what will happen next. Many performances, though brief from the supporting cast, help in transporting us to the much needed, unique and erratic world of Churuli. This again, I reiterate, is probably Lijo's most unique film that will not spoon feed you at all, and hence it will divide audiences. You have been warned, and now for whosoever has watched the film and wants some spicy spoiler talk because this film demands it, let's get right into it. If you don't want any spoilers and want to watch the film, you can click away right now. Before I start, do write down in the comments below some of the unique theories that you may have about this film. I would love to read them in the comment section. I think it has been made abundantly clear that Churuli is the end of the trilogy that started with Imayao and Jallikattu, a commentary on life, death, and with Churuli on the afterlife, as my interpretation of it is that the people of Churuli is where we left the conclusion of Jallikattu. Humans in their most primitive stage, devoid of what is expected from them in the confines of society. They are essentially savages, and hence the language, actions, and behavior of these people is reflective of being mere animals. You can also create the parallel with what the world is described as during the Kal Yuga before Kalki appears. A world full of conflict and sin where morality is absolutely dead. Churuli essentially is a portal that is in a loop every 2 years. It is not real in any way. There is no escape from this loop, but only resetting that is established by the aliens that observe the humans, only presented through a throwaway conversation before the policemen enter Churuli of alien abductions in America. The two policemen hitch a ride on a jeep that looks like a rundown police vehicle. They are met with a kind driver and a few people who join them on this journey in merry, only for them to cross a bridge and the behavior of these characters to change immediately, cussing at one another and being oddly aggressive. This is when you realize that you have entered Churuli. We, through several interactions of Vinay Fort and Chemban Vinod, get to realize that this is not Vinay's first time in the forest, as he finds it oddly familiar. The locals as well point out to him that they have seen him somewhere, being confronted and chased by an old lady as if she knew him previously. The Arak shop owner tells Vinay Fort that 2 years ago policemen had come to catch a fugitive by the name of Vasu, and his whereabouts were exposed by the elderly man. It is through this conversation that it becomes clear that it is the same event that is being played out in loop, but just with different individuals. The elderly man controlling Churuli now, observing the acts of humans, probably was the original fugitive of the loop. In the conclusion of Churuli, as Vinay Fort and Chemban Vinod find the fugitive played by Sobin, and the locals laugh at the very thought that the policemen think that they can escape, you realize that the introductory story of the monk and the phantom that gives him directions only to go astray in the forest forever will be their inevitable reality. The storyline is representative of the third loop. The first one being where Sobin's character and Vasu as policemen came to find the elderly man who was the fugitive, only for Sobin's back to be displaced and his body to be swapped. The second loop represents Sobin bringing Vinay Fort and posing as policeman to find Vasu, who is now the criminal, only for Vinay Fort's back to be displaced and his body to be swapped. The present time, which we are introduced to, represents Vinay and Chemban Vinod posing as policemen, wanting to find Sobin, who is the criminal now, only for Vinod's back to be displaced and his body swapped. The future loop will find Chemban Vinod come with another policeman as they are finding Vinay Fort, who is the criminal, for the loop to continue every 2 years. The change of names in the film represent how there are resets in the Churuli verse. You also get a hint that Chemban Vinod could have actually got to know the reality of Churuli through the healer, as she exactly knows what will transpire. A definite trip, I totally get it, in its entirety. That was another thrill to unearth, and I hope you had a similar experience. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.